Hello guys, how are you? Please subscribe to my channel.
Weddings are supposed to be happy. At least, that's what everyone says. But for me, my sister's wedding felt like a stage. And I wasn't there to celebrate. I was there to be reminded of my place. The venue was beautiful, soft lights, perfect decor, guests smiling like everything was exactly how it should be. And in a way, it was
For them.
not for me. I stood near the back, dressed simply, trying not to draw attention. That had always been my role in the family, quiet, invisible, easy to ignore.
It was easier that way.
Easier than being noticed and judged. My parents were near the front, laughing with relatives, proud, loud, completely at ease. My sister was the center of everything. Of course she was.
She always had been.
The music slowed, and people gathered closer as the reception began. Toasts were being prepared, glasses raised, smiles everywhere. I thought maybe, just maybe, the night would pass without anything happening. I was wrong. When it was her turn to speak, my sister took the microphone, glowing, confident, completely in control. She started with the usual things, thanking guests, talking about love, sharing a few stories.
People laughed.
Applauded. Everything felt normal. Until it didn't. And of course, she continued, her voice light but sharp underneath, not everyone here was exactly planned. A few people chuckled. I felt something shift. Subtle. But there. She looked directly at me, holding the microphone like she was about to say something important. Some people just show up, she added, even when they're not really wanted. The room didn't go silent. That would have been too obvious. Instead, there were soft laughs. Awkward smiles. People unsure whether to react or pretend they didn't understand. I didn't move, didn't look away, because I knew that wasn't a joke. That was me. I glanced at my parents, hoping just for a second that they would step in, say something.
Stop it.
They didn't. My mother covered her mouth, smiling. My father shook his head, slightly amused. They were laughing, not loudly, but enough. Enough for me to see, enough for me to understand. And, in that moment, something inside me went completely still. Not broken, not angry, just clear. Because this wasn't new. This was just the first time they said it out loud. In front of everyone. I slowly set my glass down, straightened my posture, and for the first time that night, I stepped forward. Because if they wanted a moment, I was about to give them one. And what I did next wasn't something they were ready for. I walked toward the center of the room. Not fast. Not dramatic. Just steady. At first, no one noticed. All eyes were still on my sister, still on the stage she controlled so easily. But then a few heads turned. Then more. Because I wasn't supposed to move.
I was supposed to stay quiet.
Stay in the background. Stay unnoticed. I reached the front and gently took the spare microphone from the stand beside the DJ. My sister's smile faltered. Just slightly. What are you doing? She asked, her voice still light but tighter now. I didn't answer her. Not immediately. Instead, I looked out at the room. At the guests. At the people who had just laughed. At my parents. Still watching. Still expecting this to be nothing. I raised the microphone. My sister's right, I said calmly. The room shifted. Subtle.
Confused.
She's absolutely right, I repeated. Now, they were listening. Really listening. I wasn't planned. I continued. I wasn't expected. And clearly, I wasn't wanted. A few people looked uncomfortable. Others avoided eye contact. Because suddenly, this wasn't funny anymore. I turned slightly, looking at my parents. They've made that very clear over the years, I added. My mother's smile disappeared. My father straightened in his seat. Because now, this wasn't a joke. This was truth. But here's the thing, I said, my voice steady, controlled. I kept showing up anyway. Silence. Real silence. No laughter. No whispers. Just attention. Not because I didn't understand. I continued. But because I thought maybe one day it would be different. I paused. Let the words settle. But tonight made something very clear, I said softly. It won't be. I lowered the microphone slightly. Not finished, but close. Being unwanted isn't the worst thing, I added. It just means you finally stopped trying to belong somewhere you never did. My sisters stood frozen. My parents said nothing, because there was nothing to say. No defense. No denial. Just truth laid out in front of everyone. I placed the microphone back on the stand. Carefully. Quietly. And then I turned toward the exit. Not running. Not rushing. Just walking. Because I wasn't leaving out of anger. I was leaving with clarity. And behind me, the room stayed silent. Because for the first time that night, no one was laughing anymore. I didn't look back as I walked out. The doors closed behind me, and just like that, the noise, the lights, the laughter, it all disappeared, replaced by silence, fresh air, and something I hadn't felt in a long time,
Peace.
For a moment, I just stood there, breathing, letting everything settle, because what just happened inside wasn't anger. It wasn't revenge. It was the truth, finally said out loud. My phone started vibrating in my hand. I didn't need to look to know who it was.
But I did anyway.
My mother, calling, again and again. I let it ring. Then a message came through. Come back inside. You made a scene. I stared at the words for a second. Then another message. You embarrassed us. I almost smiled, not because it was funny, but because even now, they still didn't understand. It wasn't about them. It never was. A third message appeared. Let's just talk. Don't do this here. I locked my phone without replying, because for once, I wasn't going to fix what they broke. Footsteps echoed behind me. I turned slightly. It was my sister, still in her wedding dress, still perfect on the outside, but her expression wasn't. What was that? She asked, her voice low, controlled. I looked at her, really looked, and for the first time, I didn't feel small. That, I said calmly, was me finally listening to you. She frowned. I didn't mean it like that, she said quickly. You did, I replied. No, she started. You just didn't expect me to respond. Silence. Heavy. Because she knew. Deep down. She knew. I was joking, she said, softer now. I shook my head slightly. No, I said. You are honest. Her eyes shifted. Because honesty is hard to take back. I didn't think it would matter this much, she added quietly. I let out a small breath. That's the problem, I said. It always mattered. She didn't respond. Because there was nothing left to defend. I'm not angry, I continued. Her eyes lifted slightly. I'm just done. Those words landed harder than anything else. Not loud. Not emotional. Just final. With what? She asked, almost afraid of the answer. I met her gaze. With trying to belong where I'm not wanted. Silence.
Long.
Unavoidable. For the first time, she had no words. No control. No way to fix it in one moment. And that's when it became real. I hope you have a good wedding, I said quietly. And I meant it. Because this wasn't about ruining her day. It was about reclaiming mine. I turned and walked away. This time, I didn't stop. Some people spend their whole lives trying to be accepted, trying to fit into places that were never meant for them. But the truth is, you don't lose anything by walking away from people who don't value you. You gain yourself. And sometimes, the moment they call you unwanted is the moment you finally understand you were never meant to stay.